party, folks. This is my homage to the Nekketsu Kunio Kun series. The game that started it all was Nekketsu Koha Kunio Kun. This roughly translates to hot-blooded tough guy Kunio. The game is about a young high school student whose friend gets beat up a lot by different gangs in school. Kunio, being the hot-blooded tough guy he is, sets out to get revenge on anyone who messes with his friend Ricky. So sit back and educate yourself on one of the most popular video game titles in Japan for its time. I'll be going over everything in the entire series with the exception of sports games, which take up over half the series. The combat is very similar to that of the Double Dragon series, as well as the controls. Instead of having a huge stage, you're thrown into an arena where you have to fight every single enemy followed by the boss. This game was released in the US as well under the name Renegade. The stories are different. This time you're trying to save your girlfriend instead of your friend. Each stage begins with your friend getting his ass beat by different gangs, even the girl gang. We see a lot of good qualities that crossed over into games such as Streets of Rage, like being grabbed by behind, or the infamous jump kicking the bikes to knock the enemies off. The combat takes a while to get used to, especially when enemies come up behind you. After you've killed enough of the bad guys, the boss will come in and try to help his friends. That's when it gets really difficult. The American version has you fighting black lesbian chicks with red hair. After a while, the game gets unbearably cheap and you just can't win. Especially on this stage where you have to fight the female boss. As you can see, she just knocks you over every single time. There's really no point. I'm not reading that shit. I'm well above reading storylines for action video games on consoles. Alright, now this looks familiar to everyone. You can choose either one or two players. The second player can be Ricky. No one really wants to be Ricky. This is a sequel to the last game. This is not the Japanese version, so it will look a lot different. And they'll have different names. Kunio's name is Alex this time. They don't wear school uniforms as they do in the Japanese version of this video game. The storyline has been changed around since the Japanese version. In this game, you're trying to save your girlfriend. I'm not too sure the storyline for the Japanese version. I can't really read that. In this game, the combat's a lot better since you can use weapons. As you've noticed, the enemies talk, which is very different for this type of video game. As you kill enemies, they drop money. Since this game is pretty free roaming, sometimes you'll go to areas that you aren't supposed to be to at this time, so you have to come back to it later on. Makes it kind of fun. Some people probably don't like that. I thought it was pretty cool. You can also shop, what makes the money useful. It's not just points like in other video games. With the money you can buy different food, you can buy different drinks. Some items you use right there on the spot. Some items you hold on to and you use it whenever you need it. You can even buy books. The books teach you different fighting moves. menu shows you the items that you have bought, or items you've picked up or run across. Here's the stats for your character. They can increase or decrease depending on if you die, or if you buy items, or go out to get something to eat. Here is the ridiculously big password for this video game. I don't understand why. I mean, Nintendo had the ability to save. It's pretty cool because the storyline kind of progresses with the game. You run across a character that tells you very vital things that you need to know. Bosses are pretty fun as well. I mean, sometimes you'll get into an argument before you fight, or they'll tell you why you're gonna fight. Moving on to our next game, Kunio Kun no Jidaigeki. Now the phrase Jidaigeki is a genre for movies and film in Japan. It stands for period of drama. So we're just gonna call this game Kunio Kun in the period of drama. I've heard several different storylines for this game, such as about Kunio Kun's school doing a play about the Edo period. I've heard it's about Kunio Kun's great ancestors in the Edo period. I mean, my thing is, I think it's probably about Kunio Kun finding a time machine and going back in time and helping his ancestors from getting their ass beat like his friend Ricky. As you can see, there's a second player with me. He's computer controlled. His name is Tsurumatsu. He's not your friend Ricky, fortunately. This game is extremely open-ended, kind of like River City Ransom. Sometimes you come across dungeons that you have no reason to be in. Leaves you kind of confused every now and again. This is where I think the downfall of this game is. It's as if Technos tried to do way too much with the series, and it kind of fell down. The combat in this game is pretty good, just like River City Ransom. The only real problem is sometimes it gets pretty slow. So many enemies on screen, so many sprites on screen, you know, the NES can't really handle that, so the frame rate drops. Your friend Tsurumatsu, on the other hand, he's pretty good at helping you out. I mean, sometimes he gets stuck in glitches and things like that, but you know, it's to be expected since it's an NES game from '91. Also, as you can see, when you hit enemies, numbers pop out, kind of like an RPG. That's because, unlike River City Ransom, in order to level up, you don't eat food. You kill a lot of enemies. Here's your map, which is very useful. Here's me and my friend Tsurumatsu being lost again. Kind of like an adventure game, you know? Run around and not know what you're doing until you find out what the hell you're doing, and then you kind of continue from there. Here's a school you can go to and learn different fighting techniques. Kind of like the books inside River City Ransom. There's also shops where you can buy food and things like that. Okay, here I am at a boss fight. Kunio and the boss kind of get into an argument. While he's doing that, I'll pick this up. Tsurumatsu's ready for action. Overall, it's a pretty fun game. Not the best in the Kunio series. Most definitely worth playing, though. The next game we'll look at on the list is Shodai Nekketsu Koha Kunio Kun. This translates into Hot-Blooded Tough Guy Kunio Kun Generations. Now this game is the official sequel to the first Kunio Kun game. This game did not get an official US release, but I found a patch on the internet that translates for me. The storyline is about Kunio's